They say it's so difficult for young people to get into the market right now, but we have a solution, and that solution is house hacking. I'm Bawanka with the Compass team,
And I'm Safraz with the Compass team.
and today is all about house hacking, what it is, how to do it, how you can make money from it, and really how younger people can get into this market. And not only just get into this market, make money in this market. So, Safraz, you know some people who have done house hacking. Some of your clients have
Absolutely.
done house hacking.
Absolutely.
You've thought about doing house hacking.
Absolutely.
But let's start out with what is house hacking?
So house hacking is basically, you buy a home. Sometimes it's a condo, maybe a townhouse or something with a couple of bedrooms, and you find a way, especially if you're just, let's say, a single person or a couple, then, if you have extra spare bedrooms or even a basement unit, find a way to rent that out to help you cover your monthly holding costs, right? That's simply put, the goal of house hacking is to see how you can utilize the space that you're not actually using to generate income to help you cover your costs.
So now there's many ways that you can do this. What we're gonna start out with is, the best ways that we think you can do it, and then all of the other options, because it really depends on who you are,
Absolutely.
what you're looking for, and what's gonna be best for you. So, somebody who's looking to make the most amount of money, what do you think is the best option to do house hacking?
I think the most amount of money is, example, you have a house, rent out the basement, and if it's let's say a 3-bedroom house and you realize you mostly just maybe need 1 or 2 bedrooms, rent out the 3rd bedroom or even the 2nd bedroom if you really are, trying to cover all your costs, basically, simply put. Rent out the basement and then look at renting out the extra rooms that you don't need or use.
Okay, so let's start out with someone who's just gonna be renting out the basement. What does a basement go for rent?
So it really depends. So of course, same thing with purchasing. It's location, location, location. If you're in a high demand area for rent, sometimes you can get $2,000 a month for rent
Yeah.
in a basement unit.
Yeah. Another thing you gotta keep in mind too is gonna be the space.
Of course,
Is it
absolutely.
1 bedroom? Is it 2 bedroom? And then the finishes. Is it is it light in there? Is it newly renovated? Is it old and run down and like
Ceiling height.
you can barely stand
Ceiling
up in
height,
there? Is it bright? Like all of these things are gonna be coming into it. But like average price, what do you say?
I would say we'll just go right in between, 1,500, right? The rental market generally is slower now. So in the past, yeah, you could have said maybe 1,800, but I like to be conservative with numbers. It's really important as an investor. I would just say on average, if you have a decent basement that's truly livable, is $1,500 a month.
1,500. That's for a 1 bedroom, right?
That's for a 1 bedroom.
And what
correct.
about if it's a 2 bedroom?
2 bedroom? You're definitely gonna hit closer to $2,000.
Okay.
Two
Okay.
grand for sure. Like I would say $2,000 easy.
Okay, now what type of property is this that we're talking about? Like, what's the lowest purchase point that you could be buying a home and being able to rent out the basement for 1,500?
Okay, so I'll give you an example. So my client had a semi-detached home in Scarborough, and she had a decent basement, 7-foot ceilings, and 2 bedrooms, and she was able to, for the last 6 years or so, rent that out for on average about $2,000 a month. And the purchase price of that property you're looking at in today's market, I would say between 800 to at most 900.
Okay, so let's just go off of 850. Okay, so you're buying a property for 850, and you're gonna be renting out the basement for
Let's say $2,000 if it's a 2 bedroom.
$2,000. Okay, and what are your monthly costs gonna be on that?
Okay, so when we say monthly cost, we're talking mortgage, property tax, utilities, and general maintenance. I would say on an $850,000 purchase, you're exactly looking at about $4,000 to $4,500.
Okay, so
All in.
So 4,000 to 45, and now you have 2,000 getting taken care of in the basement. So now you're looking at 2,000 to 2,500. And the biggest thing that you always have to keep in mind is you're going to be owning this property. So maybe that's still a lot. 2,000, 2,500. You're younger. You don't care who you live with. You're ready to go. You're happy. Now, how can you make use of the two other bedrooms upstairs?
Okay, so again, location is key, right? You need to be closer to a subway station ideally, or close to a bus stop at least. One of the two things need to happen, or have parking. So those are the three situations. You could easily rent a room for between, depending on size, between 800 to $1,000. If you're like, hey, you know what, we're going, deep in the trenches, I'll rent out the master bedroom and it has a bathroom, you can get even more. Now you're looking at maybe even $1,200 to get the private space, the private bathroom, and truly the only things you're sharing is the kitchen and the living space.
Mm-hmm. So we're saying, let's just go off of you're in the primary bedroom and you're renting out the other two bedrooms.
Yeah.
What are we looking at?
So I would say let's just average it out depending on the size, 800. So another 1,600.
1,600 downstairs. So now you're at 3,600.
Exactly.
So now 3,600 on the high side, 4,500, low side 4,000. So you're paying somewhere between $900 and $500 a month for an $850,000 property.
Yep.
And this is literally the definition of house hacking. And if you want to go even deeper, you want to make more money, you want to pay $0, or you even want to make some money, then you go live in the basement.
Oh yeah, if you live in the basement and rent up upstairs, you could definitely make a lot more money.
We're going even deeper. You want to make more money? There's a program that the government offers. Yep. It's called Homestay. And some of our clients have actually used this program. Yeah. Saffraz, give us an example of one of your clients, lower income family, and how they're able to buy a house and they were able to use this homestay program to really get ahead in life.
Absolutely. So I had a client, they didn't have kids of their own. When I sold their house, it was worth about $1.3 million. And she owned that house for 10 years. So she's like, I only need the master bedroom. That's her primary goal. I need the master bedroom. And she even had a above ground basement, so walkout. She was able to take care of, on average, between 2 to 3 kids a month through this homestay program.
When you say take care of, like...
When I say take care of, we'll be specific. It's not really taking care of them. Homestay, you give them a room to live in. And depending on the program that you choose, it's a meal or maybe 2 meals, perhaps even 3 meals, depending on what you're getting into.
Yeah, if you have more meals, you're going to get more money.
Exactly.
But now you also have more responsibility.
Of course.
You were telling us about a cold breakfast.
Yes.
That's something that's easy. What do you have to do for a
cold breakfast is just make sure they have, let's say, fruits like apples, oranges, coffee, tea, cereal boxes, something of the sort that they also, you're not just saying, this is what we have, you have to eat it. Of course, it's like an agreement, right? Mm-hmm. Are you okay with this? Absolutely. This is what we have for you, but it's a cold where you're not waking up in the morning and being a chef and making them eggs and toast, right? It's not that kind of situation. Yeah. It's cold breakfast. It's like when you go to a hotel, motel bar. Breakfast, sorry. Exactly, it's ready to go sometimes. Sometimes you get the fancy stuff, but not in this situation. Yeah. Homestay, cold breakfast.
So the reason the government offers something like this is because international students, they want to be in a home that is English speaking, is going to help you learn to be able to speak the language quicker, get a better understanding of what North American Canadian life is like.
Absolutely.
So a stipend comes with it that can be anywhere between $700 to $1,500, depending on what you want to offer in terms of meals, things like that, and also depending on the space that you're going to be providing, location, things like that. But here's another way how you can guarantee your rent. Maybe you only want somebody renting it out for during school months and not the whole time. But there's a lot of different ways that you can make money with this house hacking.
Yeah, so even in the home states, we're not saying you have to do that. We're giving you multiple different avenues depending on your comfortability, right? Like for me, when I bought my first property, I rented out the basement. I don't want to deal with homestay. I just can't do it. But there's a lot of I've actually had 2 clients recently. They, for 10 years at a time have been doing homestay and that has allowed them to move up faster instead of having to pay, a $4,500 monthly holding cost. Now their holding costs are substantially less through, whether it be renting out the basement or homestay.
Yeah. And that's why we started out with, it really depends on who you are. Maybe you're someone who you don't want to live with anyone, but you're okay to live in the basement. You live in the basement, 1 bedroom basement, and you rent out all 3 rooms. Maybe you don't want to deal with the headache of renting out all 3 rooms. You'll make more money renting out each room individually, but maybe you just rent it out to a small family and they're going to be there and there's only one person that you ever have to deal with. And the turnover is, you got to remember, when there's 3 rooms, there's going to be one person's going to move out. They're all moving out at different times. That's more turnover. Then you have to get more people in. So house hacking, we're not saying it's something that's like super easy, but this is a way that you can create more income, more money for yourself. And yeah, that was kind of, we just started out with the best option of some upstairs and downstairs. You have 2 doors. 2 doors, you're always going to make more money.
Absolutely.
Now let's talk about, maybe your affordability isn't that high. You can't afford to get something that's $850K. Maybe your affordability is only $600,000. What can someone do with $600,000?
So 600,000, we definitely have to guide them to like maybe especially these days, a larger condo, right? Either a condo, alternative is a condo townhouse. Mm-hmm. So you can get for that price point, likely maybe a 2+1 condo townhouse or a condo. So again, same thing, right? You have 2 bedrooms, you live in one, right? And you rent out the other. How much do you think a condo, let's say, closer to downtown would rent for these days?
So yeah,
as a single bedroom.
If you're just renting out 1 bedroom.
Exactly.
1 bedroom, you're going to be around $1,600.
Okay, so let's say at a $600K purchase price, you put the minimum down, right? Probably about 6% down payment, right? Monthly holding costs, you're probably looking at around $3,000 to $3,500 on the high side. Obviously, those numbers vary because there's different maintenance costs, different property taxes, different mortgage rates that you get. So let's just say $3,500. Okay, so you bought a place, you get it in for $3,500, and how much did you say you can rent it out for? One of the bedrooms?
Let's say if you're renting out the smaller bedroom, somewhere around $1,500. You're renting out the bigger bedroom, $1,800.
Okay, so there you go. So now if we say, let's say $3,500, and you rent it out for $1,800 or even $1,500, let's call it square. So you get to own a piece of property, and your holding costs are only $2,000 a month, right? If you're gonna go rent a place now, a 1-bedroom apartment, you're likely spending over or close to $2,000 a month. But the whole point of house hacking is you get the low holding costs, but now you're purchasing and then being able to pay down even faster, whatever it may be.
It's really going to help a lot with that monthly cost. It's going to bring that monthly cost a lot lower, making it a lot more manageable for you, a lot easier for you. And you're also going to be learning how to be a landlord, because once you're already doing that, you have all the systems in place. You've been doing it for 2 years, 3 years now, and you've been saving up so much money too, because you might not even be paying rent because you have everybody else paying it for you. Or maybe you're paying $500, maybe you're paying $1,000, but you're saving up so much money, and now you're able to go buy the next place. You keep this place, you buy another place, and you just keep that one being rented out, and it's not only paying for itself, it's also giving you $500 a month. And now you can go do the same sort of house hack with the next place, and this is how you can start building your real estate portfolio, growing your real estate portfolio. Absolutely. And the reason we say this is for young people, it's not only for young people, but you do have to deal with other people being in the same space as you. And normally a younger person is going to be more okay with that than somebody who's going to be older.
Exactly. I'll give you a very specific scenario. I actually had a client who just closed on their house about a month ago. Younger people. So they're close to touching 30, or they're just touching 30. We went to get their mortgage pre-approval. We talked a little bit about affordability. Went to the bank. The bank said, hey, you guys will be approved for $800K purchase price. And then we were looking at places, and then I was like, why don't you look at getting a place that has a basement unit already, right? Of course, you need to make it a little pretty, change the lights, maybe some paint. By doing that, we went to the bank and said, if that's a case, can we get a higher mortgage approval? They were actually able to get $1 million mortgage, and we actually bought for $1 million. Okay, so they bought it for $1 million. They did put 20% down themselves. Their monthly holding costs at an $800K mortgage, I believe, is about $4,600 to $4,800. Let's just say $5,000. Call it square. Okay, they have a really big basement. It was a bungalow, so they have a really big basement. They're able to rent it out all inclusive. We're talking the tenants do pay a part of the utilities, so we'll just round it up. $2,500. So for $2,500, meaning my clients, their out of pocket expenses per month for $1 million property is $2,500. Right? They get 3 bedrooms, their own bathroom. They have double car, like they can park 2 cars. They get the private backyard space. All of that. And like compared it to the alternative, which was, let's say for 800, they maybe would have got a much smaller semi-detached with no parking, right? So just having that extra 200K affordability and house hacking. This was very important, right? Because now instead of them having to out of pocket $5,000 for living expenses, it's a lot of money. I don't care what your income is. $5,000 a month, even for dual income, is a lot of money. But now it's $2,500. They couldn't even rent the place they're living in for $2,500. But they live in the main floor, they rent out the basement, all for $2,500. Hey, I'd take it. Like that's a 50% reduction in your monthly living expenses. That's crazy.
And the biggest thing is you own this property. You
Absolutely.
own this asset. And that's really what house hacking is about. It's about getting into the market. It's about being able to pay less and not have so much overhead. And really just, like I said before, being able to build that real estate empire. So what's your last piece of advice for someone who's maybe I should house hack, but I'm also worried how am I to be able to deal with all of this stuff?
To be honest, in my experience, especially when the owner lives in the property, you're gonna get better tenants, right? And it's like you get the good quality tenants, and usually you can build a decent relationship with them. So it's not typically a headache. But the alternative, if you do get something, let's say as a basement, you should definitely hire a professional to still do your due diligence. Do all of that. Make sure it's a good tenant. Right? And still go through the general process of it. But if you're like, hey, I don't want people in my space, again, they're not in your space, right? If you live in a condo, there's someone above you, below you, to the right and to the left. Same thing here. Just you buy a place, rent out the basement, separate entrance. You might never see them except when it's time for rent, right?
Yeah. If you need help renting out the basement, you call us.
Yeah.
We will help you out.
Yeah, we take care of our folks.
But all in all, we strongly believe in house hacking. I know Safra strongly believes in it.
Oh,
we are really big on real estate and real estate investing and being able to just keep more money in your pocket and being able to build more wealth. If this is something that you're interested, if it's something you want to learn more about, click the link below and just set up a discovery call with us, and we'll be able to dive deeper and answer any questions that you have. And also, if you like this, give us a thumbs up. Send it to somebody as well, and subscribe. And Safra, do you have anything else?
That's it for me. Oh, my first property, I rented it out for like 5 years, the basement. That's the only reason here I am today, I swear to God, I wouldn't have been able to afford the monthly. I was making like 60, 70 grand a year. So that's why I tell everybody, do it. Unless you need the space and you have like 6, 7 kids or something of the sort. House hacking is the way to go.
If you can make it happen, make it happen. I'm Boanka with the Compass team.
And it's Safraz with the Compass team.
And that's it for today. And we're looking forward to hearing from you and helping you find out more about house hacking.